So I'm really happy to introduce this session. I'm Saeed Jafari, the chair of this session. This is one of the, I think, important session in the CAP conference because it is really connected to the science journalism, science writing, and science blogging. And I know only those people who have studied journalism and those people who are taking about public relation, they're really interested in to join here. So every single of you, I know some people from Iran who are science journalists, some people from the idea that working on the science astronomy blogging, let's say, and some of our friends from the public relation. This is a really great community, and we can learn a lot from each other. Just John, our first speaker is Marieke Baan from Netherlands. If you can install her slide, perfect. So Marieke wanted to talk about science writing on the dark side. I'm really interested in to actually see what is science writing on the dark side. Of course, I know, but from my side, I know what is the dark side. But let's say to talk about the dark matter, let's say, of the science writing. Let's see. John, there's a sub slide exactly. Can you hide 1, 2, 3, and 4? This is something like the preview. Just if you select the center of the slide, I think, let's say.
Okay, I don't know. I'll hide it and bring it back and we can check. Just 1 second.
Yes, John, I think there is a full screen option exactly on the upper side and the left. And yes, it is good. But still, we can see those slides.
I have no...
Don't worry, but let's...
I will try and work this in the background. So if we go ahead, I will forward the slides, but I'm not sure why that's doing that. So I'll work on that in the background as best I can.
I don't know why CAP use this Ring Central platform, but we have to think about in the future to select another platform. But anyway, yeah, it is something that at the moment.
I think
I cannot see. Yeah, John, can you see a minus icon with a, let's say, it's not yellow, it's an orange color. You have to select them. No,
that's the slides. That's on the slide. That's part of the slide, I believe. It's part of the presentation. So I'm expanding the screen now to be full screen from my perspective. The slides are at the bottom, but they're gone now.
I think maybe there's a presenter problem because when you see the other slides, they change.
Okay, 1 second. I think I have the option. Is this working?
No, not yet. John, can you actually switch another slide? I wanted to see this is similar with another one.
Yeah, but I think what he's doing is he's seeing the presenting version without the bottom part, but we're seeing the presenter's version with the extra slides. He needs to switch them around. He needs to have the presenter's version on his screen and the presenting version on this screen.
Yes, I do not know why that's doing it here. What I can do is okay, 1 sec. I'm going to stop this presentation, try another one, and then come back and see if there's any difference.
Okay, we can wait. Oh. No, it's similar.
Do you still see the presenters?
Yes,
slide?
It's similar to the last slide.
So it has the same problem here as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we at home, we don't, from here, we only see that there isn't a problem. Is there anything that can be done on the computer inside the room?
Inside the room? Just, there's, John, we already checked. There is no problem with our technical side. Because here everything is fine.
Maybe he cannot see the other.
I can see just the
There are a lot of
presentation.
people on backstage to help us. Just we have to patience.
Okay. Okay, I'll click some buttons and see what happens.
The problem was that the mouse was over. So it's good.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mojo. The stage is yours. Finally, after.
Thank you for your nice introduction and solving the problem. I totally agree that this is an important topic, and I think it's also only one of the few talks in this week on writing and journalism and communication. So welcome to the dark side, where press offers embellish scientific results, exaggerate in their communication, and are only concerned with the reputation of their institutes and the funding of their scientists. Of course, this is also exaggerated, but I will show in this talk how it works, why it is an issue, what the science of science communication says about it, and how we as communicators can do better. But I will first introduce myself. Next slide, please. So I work as the head of communication for the Dutch astronomers, basically. There are 4 astronomy institutes in the Netherlands, and they work together in the research school NOVA. There are 4 pillars. So the 4 institutes, they form science networks, so they work together on certain topics. We have a group for optical infrared instrumentation, and we have a group for communication and education. And my colleague Joanna, who's in the back of the room now for taking pictures, she's also part of this group. And she will give the last talk of the conference tomorrow, so go there. That's very interesting as well. Okay. Next slide, please. We have a mission and a strategy, of course. We have 4 FTEs of personnel, 6 people. 3 student assistants working for us and 35 freelance students, but they mainly work for the very successful mobile planetarium project. What we do basically is media management, public engagement, and informal education. Next slide, please. So what is science communication? Next slide, please. Well, in the last century, 3 models were developed. I will not go very deep into it because I don't have much time. But basically, you can Google it afterwards. Basically, none of those 3 models exist on its own. It's always a mix of models that we use as communicators. And what Jenny Metcalfe once said, science communication is a messy conundrum of practice, research, and theory. Next slide, please. And now we go to the practice of science communication. I'm speaking now on behalf of our group. It may be different in other countries and in other institutes, of course, but we can group our activities under 4 topics. So the press communication, media management, so releases, pitches, visits, education, school programs, online activities, and public engagement activities. But what does the science say? Next slide, please. No, I don't think that's the next slide. Yeah, it's the next slide, sorry. Yeah. Okay, there are, sorry, I'm a bit confused. My slides are different than the slides I see on the screen, but okay, that's good. Research shows that exaggeration in news is strongly associated with exaggeration in press releases. So think about that, that's very interesting. And improving the accuracy of academic press releases could represent a key opportunity for reducing misleading news. And later research also had the same result. Next slide, please. But the science also says that news articles contain more speculations than press releases. So that's also interesting. Whereas scientific articles contain significantly less speculation. And second, the speculative content is frequently used in quotes of the scientists. And especially in astrobiology and exoplanet research, they were most associated with heightened expectations about the research for life elsewhere. And that's interesting research by Danilo, published last year. Next slide, please. Here's an example of last year. It was the Oxford DMS biosignature paper. And what was interesting about it is that the paper itself did not really exaggerate. It's also not withdrawn. But the press release was exaggerating and hyping the result. And also in the interviews, the researchers were claiming things they basically should not have claimed. So what happens then in the Sun and British tabloid? You can read it yourself. So that's not good, I think. A second example is, next slide, please. This is a very recent example. In last week's issue of Nature, there's an article on false negatives in the search for life elsewhere. Good article. The first author gave an interview to the Mail, the Daily Mail. Is it Daily Mail? Yeah, Daily Mail. Interview is very okay. The press release was very okay. The article is okay, but then the headline says, scientists claim extraterrestrials are out there. So also in this long chain of possibilities where things can go wrong, it goes wrong at the moment that an online editor has to make a headline. So, and then this is fake news. Next slide, please. So what are the risks of these things that mainly happen in the field of extraterrestrial life and the search for life elsewhere? Of course, misinformation, disinformation, media hype. We as communicators, as press officers, have to do a lot of debunking and repair work. And the most important thing, it's undermining the public trust in science. Next slide, please. This all happens at the background of a fast-changing media landscape. This is from the Institute for Public Relations 2 years ago. So we're changing from traditional media to online media, shift to social creator media, fragmentation of the audience. How do we reach people if we can't reach them through the media anymore? So communicators have also to adapt to those platforms, and we've seen many talks about this already this week. And the risks are clickbait, hyping, and misinformation. Next slide, please. So, how can we do better as communicators? I think first, stick to the science in your communication and your press releases. Avoid speculative content in quotes of researchers. It's very, how do you say that? I think in serious press releases, the only thing we have as media managers to make a story more vivid is to add interesting quotes that maybe just are at the border of what you should do. So be aware of that. That can really change the way it's covered by the media. So be aware of this mechanism. I didn't say anything about AI, and that's because I don't think you should use AI in writing press releases, because AI has not been fed with the latest results, so it doesn't understand it. But of course, you can use it to adapt your basic content for press releases, websites, news articles. If you want, for example, to make a planetarium film, you can use the text of the press release to transform it into script with very short sentences, for example. And adhere to journalistic principles. Next slide, please. And what I mean with journalistic principles is news gathering and selection. Always look at is this result a follow-up of another interesting result? Then there's an extra reason to do a press release, for example. Also, when 5 people ask you to write a press release, just make a choice and use journalistic principles to do that. If you have doubt, so the scientist says this is very important and it's a breakthrough, never use the word breakthrough, because in 99.9% of the cases, it is not a breakthrough. But you can always ask another scientist who's not involved to read the article and ask her or his opinion on it before you decide to do a story or a press release. And tailor it to specific target groups. Next slide, please. So, better and more reliable science communication. How can we reach that? I think if we improve the accuracy of our press releases, that could be good opportunity for reducing fake news and misleading news. It is also good to create reliable content, reusable content, so you only have to think about it once. But also educate your scientists, give media trainings, tell them what they can say and what they can't. That really helps just shortly before an interview or for a TV thing. Just educate them. And as a side effect, the media will see you as a reliable news source if you work like this. Next slide, please. The take-home messages. You can read them yourself. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
It's good finding. Yeah. Thank you so much for the excellent talk. Yes,
I will email it.
Now I can understand what is the dark side of the science journalism.
Yeah, if you want this PDF, just drop me an email. I'll send it to you.
Thank you. We have one online question. John, can you read the online question, because I do not have access to the Q&A section.
Actually, we do not have any online questions that I can see. Just a comment that it's so frustrating when you give a careful, measured interview to a journalist and then see these comments overhyped by an editor under pressure to generate clicks. It reduces trust between scientists and journalists. That's it.
Thank you so much. So is there any on-site question? Quick question, Mohammed Javad.
Thank you for this presentation. Actually, these days, mass media and also astronomy or space-related media have a big rival, TikTok influencers, YouTubers, and they publish everything and with a lot of exaggeration. How we should survive?
Now, I once invited a YouTuber 10 years ago or so, a very famous YouTuber in the Netherlands. And I talked to him for a couple of hours, and since then it went much better. And we have a plan now to not only educate our astronomers, but also educate the general scientists, journalists. So science journalists, they're doing a relatively a good job, but mistakes like this always happen in general media. So I asked a couple of TV, radio, and newspaper journalists in the Netherlands if they would be interested in a course, crash course on not hyping results in the field of search for life elsewhere. That's the topic where it goes wrong all the time. They are very interested. So that's our plan for later this year, to organize a crash course for the media. But YouTubers should be also an interesting target group. Yeah.
So you want to strengthen or empower the those who are engaged with traditional media to push them to go to YouTube, TikTok, and make these stages for their own and to compete with the typical type of influencers. Is this?
No, initially we want to give a crash course to the traditional media, but then especially for their online editors.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep.
So very quick question, because if we have a time at the end of the session, we can ask the question because of the limit of the timing. Thank you so much for the excellent talk, and I would like to invite the next speaker. She's Lilit Darbinyan from Armenia, which is part of the BAO. Okay, who's the presenter? She will be talking about scientific journalism activities in Armenia.
Hello, everyone. Am I hearable? Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Lilit, and this is my honor to represent Burakan Astrophysical Observatory, where I serve as a press secretary, and Armenian Astronomical Society, where I'm an electronic newsletter editor. Today, I will be talking about scientific journalism activities in Armenia and how science, communication, education, and outreach help to connect astronomy with the society. I will also present the role of Burakan Astrophysical Observatory and the Armenian Astronomical Society in promoting astronomy through media and educational activities. The next slide, please. First, I will briefly introduce the science communication landscape in Armenia. Then I will discuss the outreach and educational activities, journalism and astrophotography competitions and its impact, and also will finalize the results, challenges we face, and also our future directions of the work. Now, next slide, please. Scientific journalism is very important because it helps to make science understandable for the public. It creates the bridge between the scientists, the society, and encourages the scientific literacy. In Armenia, interest to astronomy outreach and scientific communication is growing. Social media and digital platforms are becoming important and powerful tools for sharing scientific information. However, there is still a need for more specialized science journalists and communicators. Next slide, please. The Armenian Astronomical Society plays an important role in promoting astronomy education and outreach in Armenia. Its main goals are to support astronomical education, increase public awareness about our scientists' achievements, and strengthen communication between scientists and society. This society organizes public lectures, educational camps, outreach programs for schools and teachers, and also for journalists. Let's go next slide. Burakan Astrophysical Observatory is hosting IAU Southwest and Central Asia Regional Office of Astronomy for Development. One of our major educational initiatives is From School to Space lecture series launched back in 2012. For this past 13 years, this annual program has reached thousands of students across the Armenia. It brings astronomy education and astronomy education to remote regions and schools, providing students with hands-on experiences and opportunities to interact with our scientists. Another successful initiative is the Birakan Science Camp, launched back in 2014. This is designed for school children aged from 12 to 14. During this camp, participants live in our Birakan Observatory in a scientific environment. For 1 week, take part in different hands-on activities with scientists and attend stargazing sessions we organize every day in our observatory. Also, they join to educational different excursions. This camp has become one of our most successful educational programs, bringing together young people, educators, researchers with a shared journey. In 2024, just recently, we also launched teacher training programs aimed for empowering teachers through modern astronomy education. These workshops include lectures, practical sessions for teachers, astronomical observations with telescope, and some other educational activities for teachers. Let's go to next slide. So one of our important and powerful educational project is Astronomical Dictionary, created and maintained by Birakan Astrophysical Observatory. It's available in our website. This is a trilingual tool available in Armenian, English, and Russian, which includes astronomical terms, star names, and scientific definitions. This dictionary supports students, teachers, journalists, and general public by providing accurate and up-to-date data about scientific terminology. Next slide, please. Armenian electronic newsletter is an important communication platform for astronomy in Armenia and all over the world. These goals are to promote astronomy, share scientific achievements, and strengthen collaboration among Armenian astronomers. The newsletter is being released once a month, and it includes research news, upcoming events, educational opportunities, and international collaboration announcements. Next slide, please. So astrojournalism competition is one of our outreach initiatives. This also includes astrophotographic competition. This kind of competition encourages journalists and young communicators, also photographers, to create accurate and engaging scientific stories. It helps to improve communication skills, increase the visibility of Armenian science, and make science discoveries more understandable to the public. This competition helps to create a growing community of scientific journalists and communicators in Armenia. In the next slide, I will talk about astrophotography competition. This actually combines science with the creativity and visuals. Its goal is to encourage public interest to astronomy through images. This initiative inspires young astronomers and helps people to connect emotionally with astronomy through visual storytelling and social media engagement. In the next slide, I will introduce digital communication. The digital communication is an essential tool and a part of scientific outreach. We use press releases, interviews, social media, educational videos, and online articles to communicate with the public. We also use digital storytelling methods and creative content help to reach wider and younger audience and our followers. Let's go to results slide. Such kind of initiatives have had a positive impact on science communication in Armenia. Public interest in astronomy and science outreach has increased, and more people are participating for our educational activities. This collaboration between our scientists and media organizations has become stronger, and we have a dedicated group for public outreach and scientific communicators. And Armenian astronomy has gained greater visibility with step by step. Let's go on next slide. So the challenges we face, despite this progress, there are several challenges. There is a limited funding for science communication activities, and Armenia still needs more specialized scientific journalists. Another challenge is facing the spread of misinformation. And in the future, we plan to extend our programs and develop more digital tools and organize additional training workshops for journalists and educators. And to conclude the presentation, with the next slide, I would like to indicate that scientific journalism and outreach activities plays an important role in this journey, and Armenian experience demonstrate that collaboration between scientists, educators, journalists, and young school children, is essential for building a strong culture of science communication. It's time for questions. Thank you.
BAO is not only active in education and outreach, but they are taking about science journalism. This is something a really good observatory has to take care about their public relation, the science journalists for their community in their language. So we have time for 2 questions. So I see Mariam, yes. I'll give you the microphone, please.
Thank you for your presentation. Today morning, we had another presenter talked about social media and how we can put the astronomy outreach through social media and how we can make our social media bigger and all. And I do understand also journalists is very important through the astronomy outreach. But in my point of view, I think like most of the newer generation, especially people without any astronomy background or scientific background, goes directly or dive directly through social media and YouTube channels and videos. And most of them, they don't really read. Like there are some post videos that we share through our social media. You know, the captions, they don't even read the captions. So how can we encourage them to actually, instead of going through the social media and watch YouTube, you can actually have the other sources, which is books, journalists, you can read and educate yourself through them.
Okay, thank you for the question. Very interesting question, actually. To make people to read the content and understand it, first of all, I think is to make content simple with less scientific terms and some kind of each scientific terms should be described deeply for their understanding. And also I had experienced that long texts are not being readable and they just scroll it down without reading. So short text, short and informative texts are more engaging than long text, and also to use some visuals during the sharing the content. So it time-taking process, and we should have patience for it.
Someone who works at the department. I'm Gaine. Thank you for allowing me to answer. Also, quick sentences, two sentences. So, for example, why Lilit mentioned in the beginning, she mentioned about our summer camps or other camps that we are organizing at the BAO. One of the reasons, it's not only the, one of the reasons is to encourage them to be a part of science outreach, astronomy outreach. So, for example, she mentioned about journalism contest, professional photographer contest, but also participants, those kids or young people who are participating at the summer camps, we encourage them. So there is a contest. Whoever takes a great picture of the observatory site, someone at the summer camp, and post and tag us on social media has a prize or something like this. There is a list of this kind of entertaining things. Oh, I was looking, sorry, who was asking the question? I was supposed to look at you. Thank you for the question. Thank you, Lilit. Thank you.
Thanks, so we have one online question. John, can you take it over about online question? You're muted.
Thank you. Sorry. Yes, we have a question in the Q&A, which is, what digital tools are you looking to create in the future?
Thank you for the question. Our digital tools are Facebook and Instagram, as well as our Armenian electronic newsletter, which we release every month. And also we have YouTube channel and a LinkedIn page, as well as we help journalists to create press releases, scientific press releases through mass media emailing that we also share the mass media news, scientific news with them. That's all.
Okay, thank you so much, Lilit, for your talk and answer to the question. Just thanks to her. So the next talk is about Nightfaring, writing the vanishing darkness. I would like to introduce Megan Eaves. The floor is yours.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Saeed. I'm so glad you're chairing my session. Sorry, let me just get set up here. Because I need to look at my own slides because I forgot my glasses today. So hopefully you don't mind if I sit down. I am really grateful to be here. Thank you. I know by the time we reach Thursdays at this conferences like this, it can be a little bit of information overload, but hopefully today I'm actually going to bring you into a world of storytelling, and we're going to get a little bit away from hard science and facts and press releases, and we're going to talk about humanity and stories and how we connect with each other and how we connect with the night sky and the earth and also our own emotions. So a little bit about me. So my talk is Nightfaring, Writing the Vanishing Darkness. Nightfaring is also the name of my book, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. But I'm going to talk about how I use long-form travel writing and personal memoir as a vehicle for astronomy communication. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So just a very short little bit of information about me. I'm actually a travel journalist. I'm a journalist, so sorry, the enemy in the room. But I've been a journalist for 20 years, nearly, and I'm a travel journalist. So what is a travel journalist doing at a science communication conference? I've kind of come into science and astronomy communication sideways. I actually studied communication. I have an advanced degree in intercultural communication, which is the study of how we communicate with each other across cultures and how different cultures are sort of grow up learning to communicate in different ways and how we can bridge those gaps with each other. So that's my background academically, but I am not an academic. I'm a working journalist. I write about travel mainly, and also now more and more science and astronomy. Written for a lot of publications you may have heard of, the BBC, National Geographic, Lonely Planet. I was the staff editor at Lonely Planet for 6.5 years. So I've been working in the media for a very long time. And I mainly write features, which are longer form articles, which are more kind of about stories rather than just hard science or facts or news. So I really love human nature, I love stories, and I love places and people and cultures, and that's what I write about. But increasingly over the last few years, I've gotten more involved in astronomy through dark sky advocacy. So something that I'm very passionate about, and I'll talk about in a moment, is the growing problem of light pollution. And that has kind of taken away our view of the stars in many cities. I live in a big city in London, and that's kind of how I got interested in this, is just because I lost my own view of the stars. So through the years, I've met and communicated with a bunch of different people. I now work regularly with the Royal Astronomical Society in the UK as a PR consultant. I typically work during the National Astronomy Meeting, and we put together stories for the media and do outreach. And I am also the editor of Dark Sky International's quarterly magazine, which is called Nightscape. So communicating about light pollution issues and protecting darkness and protecting the night. You can go to the next slide, please. So the problem that I encountered, as I said a moment ago, is that most people on Earth can no longer see the night sky where they live, including me, probably including many of us if we live in cities or towns. We know now through research that's been done over the last 10 years that light pollution is growing at 10% every year, which is a very significant amount, very significant. We know that 99% of Europe and North America cannot see the Milky Way. We are living under light polluted skies. And this is, for me, this is a loss of cultural connection and a loss of emotional connection to the sky and to astronomy and what that has always meant to us. So for me, that was a problem. What I've shown on the screen here is that the top left photo is a picture of a street right outside my house in London. You can see the overlighting. There's a lot of light waste there. And in the bottom right is just a kind of an overview of the light pollution map for the entire region of, including Armenia and sort of this part of the world that we're in, if you're in the room right now here in Armenia. Just to give you an idea of how much light pollution there is even here. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So my solution, I suppose, if that can be called that, is I wanted to interrogate why this is happening. We know it's happening, and we keep saying over and over and over, it's happening, it's happening. Light pollution's bad, it keeps growing, but it does keep growing. And for me, that was the problem that I wanted to get under the skin of. Why is it growing? Why are we lighting up the night so much? Why are we potentially so afraid of the dark? So all of my combination of travel writing and dark sky advocacy led me to kind of come up with this idea to write a book. And the book is basically, well, I'll read what it says here, which is that it's I didn't write this, so please take it with a grain of salt. Didn't write this about myself. My publishers wrote this. A heartfelt exploration of the night on Earth, following a travel journalist and dark sky advocate around the globe as she seeks out dark places in our ever brightening world. So what I decided to do is interrogate the idea of darkness. What does it mean? Why are we afraid of it? What does it give us? And I wanted to do that not just on a science level, but also on an emotional level, because I really believe in the power of storytelling. As humans, we have told stories throughout all of human history. In fact, that's for most of human history, how we relayed information to one another. We sat around the fire and we told stories that also contained encoded information and science that would be passed along to the next generation through these stories. So for me, storytelling is the way that we get information across to people, and that was what I wanted to do. So I went to 11 different countries. I went to 6 continents. I did not go to Antarctica. I would love to go to Antarctica, but I did not for this. One of the craziest things I did was go to a monastery in Germany and spend 4 days in a completely and totally dark room, just to see what that would feel like. And I went to a lot of different places to explore some of these themes. Some of the themes that I've included in the book are fear of the dark, the myths and legends that we talk about when we talk about darkness and the night sky, some of history of astronomy, but I approached the history of astronomy in a slightly different place, in a slightly different time than we often hear about in a European context, at least. The cosmos, and then I also wanted to look at it from a more spiritual and philosophical side as well, because I really think that that's an important aspect of human nature that sometimes gets skipped when we talk about science communication. There's also themes of ecology and wildlife, human health and safety, and all of these kinds of things, and how darkness relates to that. So if you can go to the next slide, please. So I've called this slide my method, but I did not have a method. I'm not a scientist. I'm a writer. And so I didn't really approach this with any kind of goal in mind, except that I wanted to answer questions for myself, and I wanted to share my own personal experience. I really truly believe that sharing your own personal experience can touch people emotionally, can reach them in places that pure facts cannot, and can also inspire them to take their own journey into that topic. So I believe that people protect what they feel connected to, and emotion creates engagement. And that's my whole approach to my journalism work, to my PR work, and to my authoring work. So my idea was to inspire others through personal experience, not through facts and figures. Although in the book there is a lot of information and a lot of facts and figures as well. It's all presented through a story of my journey. I think general audiences don't, in my experience as a journalist and as a PR, I don't think general audiences respond to story. They respond to story not because of facts and figures, but because it inspires them in some way or touches them in their life. And stories help people to feel rather than to know. And feeling is really important. Feeling is why we end up with headlines that are so skewed, as Marieke said earlier, because people respond to feeling rather than just pure facts. So if we want them to feel something, we have to guide them to that feeling rather than trying to just tell them facts and figures. So if go to the next slide, please. I told many stories in this. I'm going to try to recount the countries I went to because there are a lot, and I might have forgotten some, but I went to the United States, which is my home, my country of birth, and the UK, which is where I live now. I also went to, as I said, Germany. I went to Italy to track wolves and to think about predators and fear. I also went to Tanzania. I went to Ladakh in northern India to spend some time with some Buddhist monks who also do astronomy. Some of you may know that program, the Astro Stays program. I went to Japan, to the Dark Sky Park in Okinawa Prefecture to think about health and our planetary health. New Zealand, to meet with Maori Indigenous knowledge holders and to look at Indigenous knowledge of the night sky through time. Argentina, where else? Uzbekistan. That's the important one for this slide because that first picture is the story of a medieval astronomer called Ulugh Beg. And if you're astronomy folks, you may know this. You may know who Ulugh Beg is, but a lot of people in the world do not know who Ulugh Beg is. He was a astronomer and a ruler in the Timurid Empire in the 1400s in what is now Uzbekistan. But he was primarily an astronomer and he loved the night sky. He built a huge observatory in Samarkand and he built an astronomy school and he wrote many books and star catalogs. And so I really wanted to tell people a story about the history of astronomy that they might not have heard before. Just give a surprising and sort of less known angle on how we connect to the night sky through time and through different geographies. I also found through my research some ways that stars and constellations and asterisms actually humans have been looking at the same ones and calling them different names. One of the ones that was a really recurring theme is the Pleiades or Pleiades, depending on how you say it. And I've found that many cultures have a different name for this, but they really connect to this particular star or this particular asterism. I also the photo on the right is of a high school or secondary school group in Chicago who are trying to address light pollution in their home community. So these are just a few of the stories that I found that, they're very human stories. They're stories of people and connection and how we relate to our environment and the night sky. And I find that those kinds of stories really are what get through to people because it touches something about who we are and why we're here, which is really the fundamental question of astronomy, isn't it? It's why we keep exploring and studying and trying to understand what's out there is because we want to understand ourselves and why we're here and what this all means. So if you go to the next slide, please. Conclusions. I mean, I don't have any tidy conclusions for you. My conclusion is that stories can reconnect people to the stars and remind us of our shared heritage, which I think is in this time period, in this year 2026, extremely important for us to know about our shared humanity, that we're all here on spaceship Earth together. The stars are one of the few things that can do that because it doesn't matter what kind of food you grew up eating or what kind of landscape you're surrounded by, what language you speak, we can all access the stars and see the same sky. So if you will go to the next slide, please. This is my last slide. I just want to say thank you for listening. I really believe that storytelling is an important part of science communication and one that is not utilized nearly enough. I think it would be wonderful if more scientists were to go out and write their own personal experiences of doing their science and why they do their science and connect to that kind of more personal element. I've only read a few books that are like that, and I really appreciate it. So I've got a couple of copies of the book with me here in the room, and you can connect with me here. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you, Megan, because you talk about the night sky, the forbidden nature, and the role of the storytelling. So we have a time for one quick question in the hall. Yes, quick.
Not just a question, but just a comment as well, that I see Australia is not on the list of continents that you have visited, and I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to Australia, particularly because the Australian Indigenous people have a songline history of constellation storytelling that spans 75,000 years. So I'm at the Sydney Observatory, and I would welcome you to come over there.
Thank you. I mean, so number one, I would love to go to every country in the world and write about it. That's number one. And number two, I mean, Aboriginal astronomy is all over the chapter that I wrote about Indigenous astronomy. It's just happened that I had a very good connection in New Zealand, which is my father who lives there. So that was a really personal story that I told through that. But I spoke about Puebloan astronomy, which is Native American astronomy from near where I grew up. I spoke about Aboriginal astronomers and others. So it's there.
So thank you, Megan.
Thank you very much.
So we're going to the next speaker, Parvin, Howaida from Sweden. Her talk is about Starlight and storytelling, how science fiction writers illuminate the cosmos for a diverse audience. Parvin, the floor is yours, and we are hearing.
Thank you. Hi, friends. Can you hear me? Okay, I believe you hear me, right? Oh, okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Parvin, and I'm from Iran. I'm so happy to see my friends from Iran healthy, and I'm getting a bit emotional because war situation and everything. I hope all of you doing well and your family. So I'm going to share my screen here. Okay. Can you see my screen? Okay, I believe you can see. So my presentation is about how science fiction writers can change the way we look at cosmos and look at technology and our approach actually towards technology. I'm going through some sections like history of storytelling, rise of science fiction, and some main questions that I'm going to answer them. And I'm going to also name some legendary writers and then close the chapter, this topic, with a quick conclusion. But I'm going to skip this part because I want to get to the main point, which is modern science fiction. We all know about this fact that long before astronomy became a science, it was actually a story. And the night sky is not only one of humanity's oldest sources of wonder, but also one of our very earliest laboratory. We created some kind of tools like mathematics to find some reliable answers to our questions, right? And storytelling is one of our oldest shared traditions that helped us remain actually connected within unknown and outside world and with ourselves. So we can see that all the semi-gods we created, all the divine symbols that we created, they are coming from this fact that we always wanted to make this kind of connection. So I'm going to the main point of my presentation, which is the modern science fiction. Science fiction actually started to get bold in 20th century as one of humanity's most creative effort to imagine the universe in a way that can be shared emotionally. What I mean from being shared emotionally is that like when I write a story about, for example, living in Mars, I am actually creating a story, craft a story to share with you the challenges I am going to face and everything that you cannot experience on Earth. So I am emotionally sharing my imagination and my scientific beliefs through my story. And science fiction has long acted as a bridge between scientific knowledge and human imagination. And one of the major things that sci-fi stories do is translating complex, very complex sometimes, ideas like and theories like relativity into narratives and make them accessible, engaging, and memorable. And it acts like a communication tool between scientists and public. And we have a very strong statement here that later on I'm going to tell you why this is absolutely true. It says that science fiction does not merely entertain people. It shows how science, it shows how people and society imagine the universe, the technology, the future, and often these influence real scientific progress and public engagement. I'm going to ask some questions and then answer them so I can make all sense and talk about the fact that I mentioned earlier. The first question is that why do we have so many stories generally about astronomy and space? The first answer is that we all civilizations we share the same sky, and the second is that humans always have this desire in them to make something greater than ourselves, create gods and semi-gods, and create the stories. And the third one is a way of survival, to remember patterns through a constellation of stories and navigation and seasonal planning. We can see that in modern science fiction, we actually here from past to now, we can see that here space has become the new Olympus, and rocket and spaceships are now like thunderbolts in our past stories. But yet we can see that still one similar thing remained from past till now, that and that thing is we have still millions we have facing millions of unknown things, and we have so many questions that continue to fuel our imagination as long as the humanity exists. And the shift from older stories to modern sci-fi happened in 20th century because actually we know that the space race happened during that time. The second question I'm going to answer is that did all these stories make any changes in the way that people look at the universe and their approach towards technology? The answer is yes. And in science communication, there is one, we describe science fiction as a cultural testing ground. What does it mean? For example, if there is going to be a technology in the future, through sci-fi stories, I can experience how I think and how I will see myself using this technology, and even maybe like things like robots, like army of robots, and things that excite us, maybe concern us about the future. So we can consider sci-fi as a testing ground for us. And another major impact of sci-fi in modern science fiction is, as I mentioned earlier, is simplifying complex scientific ideas. Like, you know, many of these famous movies that was already novels or screenplay, like Contact, Arrival, and Interstellar, they all actually simplified something like radio astronomy, something like linguistic, black hole, time dilation, and higher dimensions, relativity, and all of them have this same mission. And the third question, which is very important, is that has anyone ever been inspired by sci-fi stories to create something, to contribute to society and to technology? I brought some very interesting samples here. I can say that one of the main writers that made so many changes was Arthur C. Clarke. And I'm going to start with communication satellite and solar power spacecraft. He was also a scientist, so he had like articles and also novels. So Arthur C. Clarke predicted geostationary communication satellites in 1945, and later also imagined solar power spacecraft and solar sails in her sci-fi stories and also articles. Today, satellite communication underpin global telecommunication, and we know that there is a belt around the Earth. We call it also Clark Belt. And we also using solar power widely in our spacecraft. And about the cell phones, we can see that Motorola engineer Martin Cooper was inspired by Captain Kirk in Star Trek to make one of the first mobile phone in 1973. And about the very important thing that we all use today, internet. Tim Berners-Lee, inventor of World Wide Web and early networking pioneer, have cited Arthur C. Clarke speculative writing as an inspiration for global computer connectivity. And he was thinking that what would happen if we can connect computers in a grand scale. And it was mentioned in Arthur C. Clarke sci-fi novels. And we also have another examples like using tablets, also coming from 2001, A Space Odyssey from Arthur C. Clarke. Virtual reality was mentioned first in a novel by Neil Stephenson, Snow Crash. And also we all know about Jules Verne's work that was inspiring to so many scientists, and also H.G. Wells. That was kind of inspiration for Robert H. Goddard. The next question is that which science fiction writers were bold in shaping the future? So I want to make a category here. Sorry. The first category is for writers who are optimistic, who believe in optimistic future. And they believe that humanity's long-term future may extend beyond Earth and even solar system. So I put Arthur C. Clarke and Isaac Asimov in this category. And they wrote some great novels that are actually unique. And then we have Carl Sagan, that blended science and storytelling, making cosmic exploration emotionally accessible to millions of people. We know his books and his TV work, but I put Carl Sagan in a different category, and for that I refer to two of his quotes. He said that I find science so much more fascinating than science fiction. It also has an advantage of being true. And that's why he was more into science rather than science fiction. That's why we have a novel like Contact, because Contact is he tried to make a connection between real science like radio astronomy science with people and with public, and to make it understandable for public that how radio astronomy, how those big dishes actually working. And also he says that, I'm sorry, also he says that our generation is the first generation that has grown up with science fiction ideas, which is true. And we get to a more exciting part, to a different category, which is a cautionary category. We know about the novel Three-Body Problem. I didn't read it, unfortunately, yet, but it is from Liu Cixin, and it is kind of different from the novels you read from Arthur C. Clarke and Asimov and others. Writers like...
Hello, Parvin. Sorry to interrupt. We just have to, I think we're running very short on time, so we may have to tie it up quite quickly now, I'm afraid.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. Maybe 2 minutes is fine.
Actually, maybe 1 minute. We're quite over. Okay.
Okay, sure. So, that's also another category. And the last question is that can AI be a storyteller in the future? The answer is yes. You can try it with a prompt in ChatGPT. And how can this non-human writer make changes. We have to see what happens in the future, because now AI is helping us in translating, editing, journalism and everything. But we have to see what happens if we co-write something in the future with AI. And is it going to be something good or pleasant or not? And we have to see. And in the conclusion, I have to say that the future of space exploration may therefore be written not only in laboratories and observatories, but also in sci-fi futuristic novels, films, and perhaps one day in algorithms that learn to tell us stories alongside us. Here are my references, and if you enjoy talking about books, I'm available and I'd be happy to be connected. Thank you so much.
For creating connection between the storytelling and science fiction. It's really great topic. I love the Arrival movie and the Contact one. It is really wonderful movie for me. And I have to go to the next speaker because we do not have time to question and answer. Parvin, you can share your email on the chat box and we can actually reach out to the audience. So the next speaker is Chenzhou Cui. His talk is about citizen science, making science discovery possible for everyone. Please.
Yeah, next slide. Or I do it myself. Okay. Yeah, as we know, the astronomy currently is a data-driven science research field now, driven by the many mega facilities all around the world. For example, SKA, 500-meter radio telescope, our SST, via Rubin from James Webb, and currently the astronomical data sets have been stepped into petabytes to even to ET area. Next slide. Yeah, driven by the data intensive research trends, some very cutting-leading astronomers and IT experts initiated the virtual observatory ideas about 25 years ago. And in 2002, the International Virtual Observatory Alliance was established. Currently, there are already 44 virtual observatory projects around the world, including Armenia Virtual Observatory, Chinese Virtual Observatory, and many other nation and international level projects. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. So we notice the virtual observatory hopes to interconnect the astronomical data around the world as a digital universe. The digital universe is very valuable for our scientific research to get new discoveries. At the same time, we also notice astronomical data is not only valuable for scientific research, but also a precious resource for education and public outreach. Next one. Before the new central, there are already several very famous or well-known projects using the cloud computing. For example, the SETI at home and Einstein at home. Yes. They use your laptop or computer resources to help astronomers to analyze astronomical data. Next one. From the new centers, there are new platforms for citizen science. The most famous one is the Zooniverse. Zooniverse, there are several or many very successful projects. For example, the Galaxy Zoo, Extra Galaxy, the the radio, backyard world, and many others. Currently, there are over 200 projects running on this platform. Not only for astronomy, but for many other scientific research fields. Okay, next one. So this is this kind of model we call it citizen science. Citizen science is a kind of activity that allows the general public to participate in scientific research, typically under the guidance of professional scientists. And the purpose of citizen science is to leverage public participation to collect data, identify and address scientific problems, and while enhancing the public's understanding and the interest in science. Next one. This is an example from the Chinese astronomical community. We call it a popular supernova project. This project is designed by Xingming Observatory and the Chinese Virtual Observatory. Xingming Observatory is an amateur astronomical observatory in China, hosted and running by amateur astronomers. We are working together to design this citizen science project. Next one. You see, this is a workflow for this citizen science project. Originally, the Xingming Observatory in Xinjiang Urumqi take pictures every night for, the previous one. The next, okay, here. So every night, our telescope observe the scheduled galaxies to take pictures, and then send these pictures to the Chinese Virtual Observatory. Search for supernova. If they get some candidates, they submit the candidates to the professional organization, and after professional observation and confirmation, so you will get a new result, supernova. This is the whole workflow. Next one. Yeah. So through this collaboration, we encourage the motivators of young students Okay. Yeah. So this is the first discovery of this project. At that time, she was only 10 years old, one of the youngest discoverer of a supernova in the world. Yeah. Currently, he is graduated from college 10 years ago. So now graduated from college now. Next one. Yeah, during the last 10 years, we have many discoverers or contributors from these projects. You see different kinds of communities, fathers, senior persons, and many young students. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, very successful one. Next one. So
3 minutes left.
Okay. Yeah, we established a good collaboration between professional astronomers and the public. You are welcome to join us. We have several mailing list, and you can visit to our website. Next one. Additionally, basing on the PSP project, we designed classic and you can play in museum and in your classrooms. Yeah, very popular. This. Next slide, please. Additionally, to the PSP project, the Chinese Virtual Observatory platform hosted several other citizen science projects. This one is a lens finder. You can using the scientific images to looking for gravitational lenses. Next. Yeah, we have provided several interests. For example, the WeChat mini application and the website. Of course, no Facebook, no other, only Chinese social media platforms and websites. Next one. This is another project named Galaxy Mesa to classify the galaxy shapes. Next one. You use your mouse and a simple user interface to classify different kinds of galaxies. Next. Yeah, this one is a further advanced project named Galaxy Cursors to provide more parameters for the Galaxy database. Next. Additionally, we use AI deeply for these citizen science projects. Here are some examples. For example, AI-driven data optimization and analysis, RAG enhanced science outreach for volunteers, and machine learning for user behavior activities. Yeah, next one. We have another interesting citizen science project. That means celestial constellations for in folk culture. And in China, in different areas, different regions, there are many very interesting stories about about heavens. Yeah, this is we means folk culture. And next one, we collect different stories around the nationwide. This is an example from the 7 stars in Massiminda, and you can see different stories about this the 7 North Stars. Next. Subaru is a very famous cluster, and so we collected these stories together and share the knowledge to our users. Next.
1 minute left.
Okay. Yeah. This is a China Whale Citizen Science platform. Currently, we have provided more than 10 citizen science projects, and you are welcome to visit the website here. Next. Last year, we organized the first Citizen Science Summit in astronomy, and we gave the official definition for citizen science. Citizen science is a research project approach concerned around a specific scientific question aimed at generating scientific results outcomes and collaboratively conducted by the public. So citizen science is not only a public and outreach activities, it's really a scientific research project. And we released a special issue as the Chinese National Astronomy magazine for this above mentioned citizen science projects. Okay, next one. Additionally, we also, based on this size and projects, we designed and developed curriculums for primary school and middle schools. This is a list for currently released courses. Next. Yeah, this is the last slide for future collaboration. The Chinese Virtual Observatory as a digital universe or this archives platform, we provided cloud computing, AI technologies, and the databases is underground. And so we also provided the citizen science platform and well established. And looking ahead, there are more and more data sets collected by our ground-based and space telescopes and collected by amateur astronomers. So it aims to broaden its global engagement for integrating more international data resources and sharing Chinese astronomical data resources to the world. If you have some ideas for citizen science, you are very welcome working together, and we are very happy to host your project if you have these ideas. Okay, thank you. This is my talk.
Thank you so much, Chenzhou. Unfortunately, we do not have any time for the Q&A, but definitely please share your email on the Ring Central, because I know anybody who is interested in to actually send you an email, it is the best option. Thank you, everyone, for joining us online and in person. I'm really happy that science, journalism, and blogging and writing come together in a very small room. And for the online participant, I believe that they're interested in this topic. There are really a small community in astronomy, communication science, journalism, and I think that these talks they were very valuable to communicate each other and to talk each other and better to know about how we can communicate effectively in astronomy communication. Thank you so much and have a great day.